All right, send me kind. You person didn't come more. You call Kenya, and no because of her, but yeah, I didn't hear you see pa any Ghana for ho. A big school, a be a Juma ho. Many multinational companies be a dedi Ghana for free ha alcohol. You see more atmosphere no send it here. Now yenya obi a line so. James, good morning.
Good morning to you. How are you?
I'm good. Paint a picture for us. How is it going there this morning in Kenya?
It's a bright, sunny day here in Nairobi's capital, Kenya. And most parts of the country, it's quite very sunny. And security has been tightened up in Nairobi's capital with heavy police presence all across the major roads. And of course, we've noted the presence of the army in most of the installations and the critical facilities within Nairobi's capital. Unfortunately, parts of the country have also been rocked by violence, like Migori County, which is about 7 hours from Nairobi's capital. So that is the situation. Currently, I've had to travel to the president's backyard, that is in Eldoret, about 312 kilometers from Nairobi, where we had anticipation of clashes between the supporters of the ongoing protests or the anticipated protests and those who deem the protests are not supposed to be taking place.
All right, one would think that after President Ruto said that they are putting that bill on hold and informing the Speaker of Parliament to see to that and all of that, one would think that that would be the end of it. But it seems the youth are saying no. They still want to go out there and protest. Why is that?
Reading the mood of the majority of the Gen Zs, especially on the X space where they've had a lot of communication, it is evident that the majority of the Kenyan youth no longer have trust in the president and the presidency. They don't seem to trust the words of the president. Of course, we've had divided opinions amongst the Gen Z who would take into the streets and are expected to take back to the streets today, with the majority feeling like the president would be taking them for a ride. And definitely, of course, we've managed to see that the president did a memorandum to Parliament so that the bill can be put on hold. However, we have had a lot of hesitation amongst the Gen Zs in trusting the words of the president. And this perhaps forms part of the reasons as to why they would want to get back to the streets and in what they're claiming as occupying Parliament, I mean, State House.
Well, let's look at the safety of other nationals. There are Ghanaians, there are Koreans, there are Nigerians and Americans, people living in Kenya and working in Kenya. Some people are schooling in Kenya. And so for foreign nationals, how safe are they in Kenya right now?
It's good to note that the majority of foreigners in Kenya are quite very safe. Of course, 2 hours ago, the Ghanaian High Commissioner to Kenya, Dr. Bidiako Asari, did provide a caution to Ghanaians traveling to Kenya to be cautious when getting into Nairobi's capital due to the escalating protests that are anticipated today. And of course, we are expecting that a majority of these Gen Zs, while demonstrating, they may not be targeting those foreign internationals. They feel it is a struggle that they want the government to listen to them and largely, therefore, not targeting any foreigners living in Kenya.
All right, so that is clear. But now, the 25 people who were said to lose their lives during the riot, the clash with the police and all of that, are they all Kenyans or are there any foreign nationals among the 25 or more that have been pronounced dead?
So far, majority of those who've lost their lives, according to police sources and even some of the families who've lost
Oh dear.
their loved ones in the protest, the majority of them are Kenyans. Reports from the Minister of Internal Security stating if at all any of the foreigners in Kenya lost their lives to the protests that took place.
All right, so one of the things that I've been following very keenly this whole thing, it's like the protest is not really about the bill, but they are talking about public officials living large, and Kenya is not broke, and they are trying to milk the little that is left from ordinary Kenyans, and that is what is fueling the whole protest. Do you agree with people who say that?
Of course, would agree because those are some of the concerns that were raised out by the Kenyan youth, saying, other than the finance bill that was expected to raise taxes on them, were concerned, and we had this from the president yesterday. They were concerned of the high levels of corruption amongst highly placed political leaders, and especially those surrounding the president. They were concerned of the opulence kind of lifestyle that some of them were showing out, especially at a time when the president is calling on Kenyans and asking the government to tighten their belts. But the kind of opulence and the lifestyles of some of the politicians did not augur well with the youth, and therefore they feel that there's a lot of looting taking place of the government resources, and therefore it is an education that does not just lie squarely on the finance bill, but there are a lot of other underlying issues that have been taking place, and
Okay.
this is what they're bringing to fore before the president.
James, for anyone traveling into Kenya, especially the capital, Nairobi, right now, especially Ghanaians, would you ask them to hold on until tempests calm before they come there? Would you advise that they hold on traveling to Kenya right now?
As of today, we have not experienced Nairobi protests as they were experienced the other
Okay.
day, and therefore, one of the challenges that they're likely to face, of course, is their access to the CBD, their access within the Nairobi's capital that could be hindered by the protests due to the protestants blocking some of the roads getting into and outside of Nairobi. We saw these on the X space, where they were calling on the fellow youths to to make sure that their entry points to Nairobi are blocked by the youth. So therefore, it's a caution, of course, to those traveling to Nairobi, and perhaps to reconsider traveling today due to the inconveniences that may be the result of these roads being blocked, lack of access, that is.
Finally, to you, James, what do you think the impact of this riot and protest and all of that would be on Kenya's economy right now?
Of course, the impact of the protest has been big. It can be, this is evident by the president conceding not to assent to the bill that was expected to, be used to finance the government projects in this financial year, 2023-2024. And this will obviously have some effects on some of the planned projects. We had yesterday the president say this this halting of this bill will definitely affect the employment of certain teachers. It will of course affect some of the mega projects the government intended, and therefore we're expecting that there will be a slow process in terms of implementation of key development projects by this administration in this particular financial year. But of course, this doesn't just come without a reason, because Kenyans are demanding there will be more transparency in the way government spends its resources, in how government borrows some of the resources. They want prudent use of these resources and reallocation, of course, of the resources that government intended to use for this financial year.
All right. James, thank you so much for speaking to us here in Ghana, and be safe.
Thank you. I will be safe. Thank you so much.
All right, so we're having a conversation with James, a journalist from Kenya, and he's telling us everything that is going on. I mean, can you pick a crabby? See Kenya. Say we took Kenya, or see a block. If it's not a critical business, meeting, and I say who here. Pounds and people who here panting was so or since ocean now between a train so I would to Kenya, especially one capital Nairobi, you to not block me, I be brave. And he said, wait to me a train so I train so.